Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Macon-Bibb County Board of Commissioner meetings. This is our pre-commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, December the 19th, and the time is now 4:05. I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting here, both online and at City Hall. We're going to begin our meeting like we always do with a call to order, followed by the approval of the minutes. Tonight's approval of the minutes is for December the 5th, 2023 pre-commission meeting. And can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Wilder. We have a second. Second by, I don't know who that was, some lady down there. We have a motion and a second. I know it was a female voice, wasn't it? Okay, or was it Paul? Okay. Valerie, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. We have 3 new alcohol beverage licenses. I believe all 3 of those are set for recommended approval. We'll begin with item 3A, which is a raceway located at 5127 Mercer University Drive, Parkway, Macon, Georgia. You may be familiar with that as well. So they meet all the legal and statutory reasons for that, including the good standing order, and the legal recommends approval. Can we get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Howell. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is Sunoco Food Mart located at 2260 Sherland Drive, Macon, Georgia. You can see that picture there as well. This is a new alcohol beverage license. They meet all legal and statutory requirements, and legal has also recommended approval of that. At this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wilder, second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Lucas is absent on that call. All those in favor of the motion? All those in favor of that motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. You say nay? Okay. No dessert for Commissioner Bronson tonight. We got enough? Okay. Well, you might want to tell somebody else that you and I both know about that. Item 3C is the Taco Mac located at 5433 Bowman Road, Macon, Georgia. That's out in, I think, Ms. Wynn's territory. And this time we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wilder. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. Commissioners, we do have a need to go into executive session tonight. I want to let you know that ahead of time when we get to that particular part. Item 4A under the grant section is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the acceptance of a Criminal Justice Coordinating Council Victims of Crime Act, we refer to as VOCA, continuation award for the federal fiscal year of 2024. This amount is $78,980 with local match fund requirements being waived, which means we have to pay $0 for this grant cycle. This is going to go to the Macon-Bibb County Solicitor General. So at this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Lucas. Commissioner Wynn, you have a question?
Cycle, is that 1 year or is that longer than 1 year?
I'll have Ms. Davis before I give the wrong information.
Because I know we've got more than one that says that grant cycle.
Correct. This grant cycle is 1 year. In this case, it changes depending on the grant, but for these VOCA grants, these are annual grants. They have waived these matches for several years now, and we expect them to continue to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the same VOCA grant, this time in the amount of $86,109 with local match requirement having been waived for the grant cycle. This one goes to the Macon Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office. We get a motion to approve. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Lucas. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. The next, we'll ask our airport director to come forward on item C. This is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission accepting Georgia Department of Transportation funding in the amount of up to $329,721.02 for costs associated with the runway 5-23 extension project at the Middle Georgia Regional Airport. And if you don't mind, sir, identify yourself and tell us about this grant.
Sir, I am Doug Fayor, the Aviation Director of Macon-Bibb County. We have discussed the runway extension several times at these commission meetings. And the commission has approved a number of grants and contracts associated with the runway extension. This grant is another grant that is coupled with the others. It's 329,000, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And that is through the Georgia Department of Transportation, which makes up its 2.5% match for this project.
Okay, thank you for the information. Commissioners, you have any questions? If not, we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. And Commissioner Howell, do you have a follow-up, sir?
Well, this doesn't necessarily have to do exactly with this, but since you're here, I just want to say something. I had the opportunity Friday to go up and spin a prop for a little while, and I just want to say that, number one, the airport, the runway and the taxiway and all the area that pilots look at and see and worry about are in the best shape I've seen since I've been flying. Thank you for the job you guys are doing. Number two, it was lovely to see some new striping going down so I could actually tell where the center of the taxiway was. So thank you for that.
You're absolutely welcome, and thank you, sir. Appreciate the compliment.
That's important.
Yes, sir.
We do have a motion and second. No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item 5 deals with contracts and purchase orders for approval. We have 4 of those. 5A is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Georgia Mass Appraisal Solutions Services in the amount of $90,000 annually for 5 years for the maintenance of real property pricing schedules to be paid from the tax assessor's budget. This is part of his contractual services line, and this is something they've done for Macon-Bibb County before with the same company. So, Mayor Pro Tem Clark, you have a question, sir?
Nope, I didn't mean to push the button.
No. That's one demerit for Clark. All right, at this time, if there's no questions, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Clark. We have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to consent agenda. Item 5B is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the mayor to execute an independent contractor agreement with Warren Associates, Inc. in an amount of $1,224,000 for construction and renovation of Cliffview Lake as a park to be paid from the 2018 SPLOST proceeds Recreation Cliffview Lake property line item. As you know, we've been out to this site personally with the commissioners and our team, and we reviewed that. We've had some sketches done on those, and RFP was put out there, and this was the person that was favored in the RFP with Warren Associates, and we're eager to get that project started. So I think we have several questions, or at least several lights on here. Commissioner Bronson, you had a question, sir?
Yes, sir. First and foremost, I'm just happy, I'm elated to see that we do have development happening in the south side of town for that particular area. Just out of curiosity, as far as the range goes with the construction, how far back are we looking at going toward, I guess, on both ends, both Houston Avenue and the primary entryway? I see my man getting up now. My guy.
This also includes paving that road, beginning at Cliffview right in front of the First Choice Primary Care that we approved not too long ago, and going through the curve headed over to the other road. And we will begin the process there all the way to Antioch. But I'll let Mr. Alex Morrison with the Urban Development Authority, and also our Director of Person, Places, and Things.
Alex Morrison, Director of Planning and Public Spaces.
And things.
That also?
And so to your question, the schematic for this would actually have its major trailhead and parking area on Cliffview itself.
Okay.
That was property that the county acquired as part of this project. There will be a pavilion there that will be rented for events similar in scope to the pavilion at Amerson River Park. And then trails throughout the property going all the way back to Robert Henry Drive.
Okay.
So there will be a community pedestrian entrance there at Robert Henry and Antioch, and then a major parking area, gravel parking area up at the top on Cliffview. As the mayor pointed out, will also include the paving of Cliffview Drive. So a lot of this is going to be in shoring up the trails and the access to the lake, making the lake safe so that people don't fall in.
Okay.
And having a pretty consistent trail network around the site as well.
Okay. So it's will these funds be used in regards from a security standpoint, right? We already know that safety is one of the primary deals here for us. Does those funds cover down as far as any type of safety precautions and so forth?
As in like fall protection, there will be, it
Well-
includes fencing.
Well, not necessarily fall protection. So the same way we did with Emerson Park, right? How we identified and marked certain locations. If somebody was to fall, they can pinpoint and say, hey, I'm at marker 3, lane B or lane blue. That way security or fire department can get to them quicker. Is that kind of the same setup that we'll have for this
Okay,
particular area?
Yeah, for that purpose, there is a quick access entrance for the fire department or anyone to get into the facility, and a boat ramp at the bottom so that they can get an emergency boat in if necessary.
Okay.
The water here is so small in area, and at its peak depth is about 4 feet.
Okay.
We won't have those types of issues like we do on the river.
Okay.
But there is safety precautions and access for emergency services to access the lake built into the plan.
Awesome deal. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Lucas?
Thank you. Under former Mayor C. Jack Ellis' administration, this particular property was purchased. And I know I've heard several members of this body state that they would not have a problem with us looking at naming that for former Mayor Ellis. And so I'm just seeking our attorney's legal advice as to whether I should move at this time to add a section to this, a paragraph where we designate that it would be named, or if that needs to be a separate piece of legislation.
Commissioner, I would prefer to do it as a separate piece of legislation, although I am in favor of it. You and I have had that discussion.
Yeah.
It was one of the projects, and it's one of the last remaining items on the SPOS. I think we can do that separately. I don't want to cloud this particular RFP award down with some kind of naming rights. or anything
Okay,
this time.
well, I'm just requesting that we move forward with that so we make sure that we indeed do that. Former Mayor Ellis was also the one, it was under his administration when we received the federal monies from then Congressman Jim Marshall to this city to do Amerson Park, and yet there's no mention, nothing that designates or reminds us of the input that former Mayor Ellis had in that whole project. It was named Amerson Park. So I want to make sure that there is something suitable like this that's named for former Mayor C. Jack Ellis, the first and only Black mayor of Macon-Bibb, of Macon.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas.
Thank you.
And I think they'll come with some type of a waiver too, since Mayor Ellis is still alive, and we'll make that waiver and that request. Commissioner Wynn?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I just want to comment, Mr. Bronson, Commissioner Bronson, I wish we had $1,224,000 for District 1 to do the park, but that'll come later. I just want to say that. You were saying the things that were going to be built there is similar to Amerson Park. What, was it a pavilion you mentioned? Is it a closed pavilion or an open one? I know they got different things out there.
So it's just a open pavilion that's stone and wood construction
Okay.
with concrete floor that overlooks the lake.
Will there be restrooms out there?
There will not be permanent restrooms.
Okay, so parking paths, there's some pavilions to use for functions, but no restrooms there.
Correct.
Is that what are we going to do about that? But anyway, is that the full amount, the $1,224,000 that's left in the SPOS for this project?
There's a little bit remaining. If you recall, we purchased a home there and some other properties nearby that we look to develop in residences there. So there is some additional funds there. We're putting fencing up here. There's going to be some paving there, paving or some type of foundation there for automobiles. 2 entrances, one in the front and one in the back off Antioch, and also off of Cliffview, and then the covered pavilion with trails and some stuff there on the boat ramp. So we'll get the other sketches to you. These things are just finalized, and we're eager to get through the project so we can have it ready in time for Memorial Day this year, and time to open up over there. But
But there is some more funding that's still left in.
there's a little funding. I think the original project was like $2 million, just like over $2 million. All
Okay, all right,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you, Alex.
right, this time we entertain a motion for approval. Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Bronson, second by Commissioner Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Hostetler and Associates in the amount of $47,281 for engineering services related to the reconstruction and repaving of Meade Road to be paid from the 2018 SPOS funds. Most of you know that particular area there. We've had some conversations there about a potential additional transfer station there that's been in the news, I'll call it that. And we've got a park there and a lot of habitat houses being built over there and some other work. Quite honestly, that road is in disrepair because we've got some businesses out there as well. Come to find out, it's not just simple asphalt. It requires a lot more work done, which requires an engineer, but more importantly, solid concrete. So concrete's going to be done on that, and you'll see another item as we get further down for that project that we're moving from SPOS. But this is for the design phase of that to get that done because it's needed in that area. That road is not in good condition, and we have a lot of good businesses out there that need to have a safe way to travel. So at this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Bronson, second by Commissioner Howell. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We're going to move on to item D, which is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Nelson Worldwide in the amount of $95,750, right, yeah, $750 for engineering services related to design and needs assessment for the Macon-Bibb County Courthouse to be paid from the 2018 SPOS funds, Judicial Courthouse. You might not recognize the name of this Nelson Worldwide, but it's formerly known as Wakefield and Beasley. So it's the same company we used before in the courthouse project. So this is getting to the point that we talked about by the end of the year. We wanted to have someone on board to go ahead and start the design to remodel the courthouse out of some of the SPOS funds we got, since we've done so much in acquiring property in the area, doing the juvenile justice system, paving the parking lots, making improvements over there. So we want to do this renovations that we have here to see what other monies can be left for additional projects, including paying off debt in the SPOS. So that is what these funds are for the engineering services related to that design and needs assessment for Macon-Bibb County Courthouse. At this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Howell. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and we'll go to the consent agenda. Item 6A is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve the 44th Amendment to the 2018 SPOS project timeline as budget presented in the SPOS project manager. This is moving up the roads money that we talked about, including that on Jeffersonville Road, I think for some projects out there, and for this project over there that we just mentioned on Meade Road. So that's what the SPOS timeline is for, and right behind it, we'll do the actual appropriation of those same funds. So this time, item 6A, we need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lucas. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item 6B is the ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the appropriation of $730,000, which is what we just spoke about from the 2018 SPOS proceeds for those roads projects. And we need a similar motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Lucas. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion, yes, ma'am.
Ms. Mayor, on that one, the county manager mentioned something about my old neighborhood, Hollingsworth Road.
Yeah.
That's not my district, but I walked that street many times when it wasn't paved.
Yes, ma'am. As of today, the road has been paved. The sidewalk is out for bid, along with Pine Hill sidewalk. That bid came in a little bit higher than we estimated, which is why we need to do the adjustment to get those two paid for, and then that design for the other two sidewalks, Old Clinton and Jeffersonville Road, from the phase 1 to the train track.
Answer your
Okay,
question.
I'm just happy to see that because that Pine Hill is a very dangerous, it's a short street between Shirling Drive and New Clinton Road, and it's been in disrepair a long time. People who walk along there, you kind of take your life into your own hands because there are no sidewalks. the ditch is total, it's open. The school system doesn't even have buses that travel on that street anymore because it's just not in good shape. So I'm glad to see that and have to mention that it has been on here before us for a long, long time. So I appreciate it being included in this. And then also, as I said, the Hollingsworth Road, and what's the other one? Oakland, yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Howell, you had a question?
Yeah, just for clarity, what we just voted on, the $730,000, that absolutely is not gonna pay for paving Mead Road, it's just for the engineering, correct?
No.
No, sir. The funds to pave Mead Road, we've already moved up in the timeline to take care of that. We had to come back and take care of the engineering piece. And in this $700,000, it's going to be the sidewalks, the overages that as I said, Pine Hill came in higher than anticipated, so we had to add some funds to that account.
Yeah, I was just, I
No,
mean,
that's not the total amount. We had other funds already allocated, and these were additional funds because the projects came up above.
I just
above the
know that
amount.
when you're talking about doing concrete
Right.
on all of Mead Road, that's gonna,
It's not all of me
It's
road.
not all of me. It's from MLK to about 300 feet past San Carlos. So that first part was actually, when they built it, that was the part that was concrete.
yeah.
That's what we
But it's, I mean, that's, anybody that's been over in that area these days, I mean, it's constant traffic over there, so I'm glad to see us fixing that, thanks.
Yes. Commissioner Bronson?
Hey, so I kind of came in on the tail end of that, and I do apologize. So Hollingsworth Road, first of all, looks pretty good, right? So we're getting that squared away, and I echo the sentiments of Commissioner Lucas regarding sidewalks and so forth. Speed calming devices. Have we looked at anything on that end? And the reason I ask is that I've gotten a few phone calls this past week regarding Hollingsworth Road. That has kind of turned into like a speed race, a speedway almost.
Well, if you would forward that to me, my process is I turn it over to the traffic engineer, and they do a traffic study
Okay.
to determine if there's a need for speed calming through there.
Yes, sir.
But in the meantime, we can do some small things like put up the flashing sign, things of that nature as that process is as we go through the process.
Sweet deal. Thank you so much, sir.
We call on Commissioner 9 District, Commissioner Tillman.
Sometimes I feel like some folks trying to get my attention. I actually saw the county manager today, actually emailed him. Actually, I posted about Hollingsworth Road. Hollingsworth Road, first of all, I told him I want to thank him and the engineers. It was actually a campaign promise when I came on this commission back in 2013. Matter of fact, it was 2 or 3. That was Fillmore Thomas Log Cabin Drive and paving of Hollingsworth Road. So just to give those that's not familiar a little background, the sidewalks will come from Log Cabin Drive all the way up to New Pilgrim Baptist Church. And a part of the calming area that some were speaking about, it's when one of the hardest things is slow traffic down. And it's probably gonna get worse over the next few weeks because the road is so smooth. Now, matter of fact, AJ DJ was one of the first people called me about Hollingsworth Road because he grew up in the area. So Dr. Moffitt earlier this year made a commitment and promise because I've been asking for years since I came on board. So after 10 years of being here, that is finally one of those campaign commitments that we can go back and say that's been done. So we are very, very appreciative of what's happened on Hollingsworth Road, where both Commissioner Lucas and Commissioner Bronson grew up at. And so we're excited to get that for those folks. Most folks don't know Bronson's family still lives there. His mama calls me like, she don't know her son is on the commission sometimes. But just to let y'all know, I appreciate that. So if you hadn't had a chance to go down Hollingsworth Road, some of these others, it's a commitment and a promise kept. There's a newsletter that went out that's all over the courthouse. Folks are talking about from Dr. Moffitt and Mayor Miller on all the roads that they've paved. And so folks are talking about it. And so we appreciate y'all and appreciate your efforts as Macon and Bibb is truly on the move.
Thank you, Commissioner Tillman. And while you drive down that nice, smooth road on Hollingsworth, please don't throw any trash out there, because I've done at least 3 pickups myself on that road with groups, and it gets a little old picking up after grown folk. So let's go ahead and move on to appropriations. 7A is an ordinance of Macon-Bibb County Commission to approve a supplemental appropriation for the transfer of $200,000 from the general fund balance to the account for emergency repairs adjacent to the fire station number 2. All that information should have been included in your materials. At this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wilder, second by Commissioner Lucas. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item B is an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize a budget transfer within the pedestrian safety sponsored program budget in the total amount of $87,150 for the property construction contracts line to the personal services major component as described in Exhibit A for the purpose of funding the transportation safety manager position. Mr. Lucas, I'm going to let you talk about this first. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to, first of all, sign on as a sponsor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is just such an important thing. This is an item that your Pedestrian Safety Review Board has been pushing for a long time. And here with this administration, we're finally getting to that point of not only having the position approved by this commission, but also allocating the monies for the funding of that position. This is just going to be so important. We hate the fact that Macon-Bibb leads or has led this area and the state as far as pedestrian deaths. And it's something that we just have worked for so many years on, but I am just thrilled that a large part of the plan is falling into place. Now, not only with this particular position, but also the funding that's been placed in the budget the last 3 years for additional pedestrian safety activities. 100,000 3 years ago, $500,000 last year, and $500,000 in this year's budget. And pedestrian safety thanks this commission and all those who have worked with pedestrian safety over these years and have pushed for the approval and funding of this position. I want you to keep in mind that we have adopted complete streets, and so you might want to go back and review what we approved in that, and then Vision Zero, which also holds all of us accountable to work on reducing pedestrian deaths and crashes in Macon-Bibb. So I urge our unanimous approval of this and encourage all of us to sign on as co-sponsors, because this is really something, and a lot of different areas are looking at Macon-Bibb County, and they're following what we're doing here as far as pedestrian safety. This is a big deal, y'all.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. I'll take that as a motion for approval on your behalf.
Don't move.
We have a second? Second by, I'll let you decide on that. Commissioner Karki, Mayor Pro Tem Karki, you had something?
Yeah, I wanted to commend Commissioner Lucas for her work on this. It's been happening since before we were elected to this board, and just also kind of an addendum to the allocations and appropriations that you listed. Because of your work and it getting attention, we just received $400,000 from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act that Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock announced for pedestrian safety in Middle Georgia and in Macon in particular. So thank you. Your leadership most certainly is the cause of that. So thank you.
Okay, we do have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, and likewise, I'll echo the sentiments of Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Commissioner Lucas has been a driving force behind that, and she attends all the meetings, and she actively participates all those meetings. And for too long, I sat in some of those meetings, and we noticed that we kept waiting on some job description to come from somewhere else so we can get this done, and we decided just to do it all in-house. We advertised the job description. There will be a person hopefully named in January for that position, so we can have them get to work immediately. So we're looking forward for them putting some of the dollars that we set aside to good use and saving some lives in Macon-Bibb County. So we're going to move on to item 7C. Yes, ma'am.
first time, it really does help to have the chief elected official of a community to endorse something, and not just endorse it, but to put money in the budget for it and to designate this as one of the important issues in the community. And so we all appreciate that push. And thank you all, colleagues, for this. And I do hope everybody will sign on. This is something that all of our names need to be on it so people will know who worked to make this community safer for them.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. I'm sure everybody will be willing to sign off on that. We're going to go ahead and move on to item C. 7C is an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the appropriation of up to $1.2 million from sponsor programs line item 0368, public safety to be allocated to various safety initiatives as specified herein. I know that Commissioner Bronson has like to be a co-sponsor of that as well. And anyone else that wants to join that. Just to hit some highlights of that, we've been in discussion with the school system for some items that we can help them with there to help keep the campuses safe. One of those is the Knox boxes. If those of you familiar with those, we're going to allow each of the schools and governmental entities owned by the school system to place these Knox boxes. And what they do is they allow the fire department, the police department, the sheriff's department, whoever it may be, to have access into the buildings in case of emergency, in case we have an active shooter situation, a fire, or otherwise. You don't have to call and see who's got the number, the key. You don't have to bust the doors down. It allows them access to all the buildings, and we're going to be paying for that out of this particular fund. We're also allocating $30,000 per district for a total of $270,000 to each commissioner with some guidelines that you'll get on doing some public safety initiatives within your district, hopefully funding some good nonprofit and neighborhood associations. I know Commissioner Tillman had asked for this early on, and we were working through the process, ARP. Commissioner Bronson's been advocating for this for each district for quite a while. It just took a while to get this in there. So thank you guys for bringing that to our attention so we could put those funds there. We're also needing to upgrade some of the lights around our school system, the blinking lights and things of that nature in there. And we want to purchase some new ATVs, as you mentioned before. ATVs is kind of a new item that's used a lot around communities that want to really get actively involved in community policing. When you go through neighborhoods, you have kids playing basketball or on the streets doing things, it's a lot more approachable to have these ATVs come up in a situation like that than to have a huge police car. So that's intimidating. It's going to allow for some good community policing. It also allows you to cover large areas like we talked about before on an ATV, where if you had to walk that beat, it would take you 4 or 5 times the amount of time. So it makes us more efficient there. I've talked to the sheriff about it. We've talked to our rangers about it. We talked to code enforcement. Everybody is on board with these things. They're going to make a great impact for our community. We're going to continue to add some more of these through grant processes and then place them throughout the community, especially in large events, but eventually through community policing through neighborhoods. So I'm excited about that opportunity. All those things in total, approximately $1.2 million, and we're asking for your approval on that. So at this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Bronson. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Co-sponsor for Commissioner Wynn, thank you. And Mayor Pro Tem Clark. We're going to move on to additions to changes in Macon-Bibb County Code. I'm not sure, Michael, do you want to come up here and do anything on this? You helped draft this. You want to come up here? This minstrel ordinance is right up your alley, sir. Item 8A is the ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to amend section 12-8 of the Macon-Bibb County Code of Ordinances, now reserved for the purpose of providing for the free distribution of menstrual hygiene products in Macon-Bibb County facilities. And I'll ask Attorney McNeil to give us more information about that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the member of the County Attorney's Office most qualified to speak on this subject, I'm happy to present this to the County Commission. This is modeled after an ordinance that was passed in a local jurisdiction up in Maryland, and the basis of it is essentially we have all these public buildings that the local government owns and operates, and those public buildings have public restrooms in them, and wherever there are restrooms that might have people in need of menstrual hygiene products, we should provide them. This commission has heard from groups in the past, such as Making Periods Easier, and heard presentations about period poverty, the impact of period poverty in our community, especially generally with the amount of poverty that we have in our community. And so this is a measure that Mayor Miller asked me to put together in order to help ensure access to menstrual hygiene products. And that's basically all it says, is wherever all restrooms designated for use by women and all county-owned buildings should have free menstrual hygiene products available. If there are machine dispensers installed, then they make dispenser machines that are compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And those products that are made available, unlike the toilet paper that's available in some of the bathrooms in City Hall, should be of a quality comparable to those sold generally at major retailers, and use plastic applicators for tampons. And
Thank
so-
you. I appreciate that. And I know Mayor Pro Tem Cart wanted to be a sponsor of that as well. And I'll just read two little paragraphs on here so we can be more specific. And this is, whereas menstrual pads and tampons are fundamentally and necessary components of personal health and hygiene for people who menstruate. And whereas period poverty is a global community health dilemma that has long been overlooked. This condition is described as having insufficient access to menstrual products, education, and sanitation facilities. Briefly, period poverty means that millions of women are subjected to injustice and inequity due to menstruation. I'd like to personally recognize all the women that are here to support that day, and if you don't mind, would you please stand up?
Okay.
And others.
That's
Thank
good.
y'all for being here today and pressing forward with this,
Good.
and we're happy to support this item.
Good.
So at this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by
Let us-
Commissioner
let's do it.
Wynn, Mayor Pro Tem Clark, and I think everyone else. Commissioner Clark, you like to say something else?
I just wanted to thank everybody for being here and echo those sentiments. I know this is this work is long-standing in the community. My wife served on making periods easier, and my home office was a storage unit for menstrual hygiene items for during her tenure on there, and we were glad to, and just really the growth of the organization over the past number of years has been incredible to watch, and it's because of y'all. So thank you so much, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, Commissioner Wynn?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up, and I'm glad we're doing this. You guys, I'm glad you signed up on it to help, because this is not something you're going to understand, but it really is needed in the community, and thank you very much.
Well, thank y'all. Also, I think we have everyone agreeing. Commissioner Lucas, you want to follow up?
I just want to agree with the previous speakers and thank you all for bringing this issue forward. Some years ago, we never would have had an issue like this on the agenda, and I think there's still a hesitancy on the part of some people. But y'all, next time you go, you don't have to linger in the feminine hygiene department, but go through there and look at the cost that your daughters and your wives and your sisters and your aunts, I better stop there, are having to deal with. We're not only talking about a physical need, but you're also talking about an expensive product that has to be purchased. And many times, men need things, and your costs are lower. An example is razors. Men's razors, did y'all know that they cost less than ladies'? Ours are pink and theirs are blue, but ours, there are a lot of inequities like that. And I'm glad to see some of these items come through this commission. And I just appreciate serving during a time when people are bringing relevant issues to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. This time, go ahead. We'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda tonight at 6 o'clock.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a need to go into executive session. The purpose of the executive session is consultation with the county attorney or other legal counsel to discuss pending or potential litigation, settlement claims, administrative proceedings, and also include real estate purchases. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
aye.
Opposed, nay. We're now in executive session. I get a motion to come out of executive session. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We're now to executive session. It appears that all of our items, all of our items have been carried on tonight. And this meeting will be adjourned until 6 o'clock as we conduct our regularly scheduled commission meeting. Thank you.